As the movie Top Gun taught all us 80s kids many years ago, don't let your ego write checks your body can't cash. The Mantis X firearms training system attaches to any gun with a rail and to your phone via Bluetooth to track barrel movement every shot you take. Use it to help you be the most accurate, fastest shot you possibly can in a defensive encounter. I use it in my training all the time. Hi everyone, this is John with today's active self-protection lesson out of China. This one sure looks to me like an escalating conflict where egos get people into fights that turn into deadly force encounters. Let's watch and see what happens, then we'll come back and learn some lessons. So clearly what we have starting here is an argument. You can see the guy here in the light colored shirt. I've sped it up for the sake of time, but he's arguing with the guy who's seated, and a couple of his other buddies are too, and you can tell that they are clearly agitated here, and as I've slowed it down, he's gonna come over and start the attack. He put his cigarette in his mouth there, and now they're after him. Now his other buddies are gonna come over, and you can see that the guy that was sitting down, his girlfriend's trying to keep them apart, but it's just not going to happen as a couple of guys are going to hold him down. Another guy shows up now, and you can see they're beating on him a little bit. One guy punched him there. Now they're all yelling and hollering at him, and everybody's after this guy in the black shirt. I don't know why. However, now as they're kind of trying to let him up a little bit, they finally are figuring out what's going on with them. You're going to see the guy in the black shirt actually drew a knife there, and he's going to stab that guy several times. And as it moves outside, you're going to see that the guy in white is still up and doing his thing, but the guy in the black shirt here isn't having it. And you can see him get him a couple of times, and now the guy in the black shirt's going to get pushed again, and everybody's going to run back off, but our guy in the white that was the first guy finally goes down there about 15 or 20 seconds after the action started. And now his friends are going to kind of come up to him, but again, he's lost enough blood that the blood pressure is getting out of him, and I don't see anybody starting any first aid or anything like that, and that, unfortunately, is where this one is going to end. Boy, that one was tough to watch. If you like getting these daily lessons from us, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss a lesson. I think I want to talk about some significant lessons out of this one. Number one, about controlling your ego and not getting into these kind of fights. Number two, when you see somebody who has a tool, about maintaining your distance, and about the spiritual and emotional fitness that every self-defender needs. My first lesson in this one has to be that you cannot let your ego get you into fights, friends. You see this guy here and he's jaw-jacking and he's mad, and I don't know what he's mad about, but that ego that he wants to get in a fight and show this guy what for is actually going to cost him his life here. And now if you're the guy in the black shirt, you have to recognize that you can't just sit there when somebody is a threat to you. Now there's an interesting thing, and I'm certainly not condoning his actions here, but the guy who is in the black shirt, who is seated with an aggressive person, you put yourself at a very significant disadvantage when you are seated and your opponent is standing. So if there's this problem, part of managing unknown contacts is standing up, giving yourself mobility if at all possible. Now he's going to finally do that here and kind of stand up so you can see what's going on, and you can see the fact here that his girl has kind of got her arm around him. And friends, you have to teach your loved ones that if you're managing unknown contacts, if you're about to get into some kind of a conflict, if you're trying to deal with somebody, that they need to know what they're doing, because she didn't put herself in a safe place at all, that if this guy was a self-defender, he had her to deal with as well. Teach your loved ones what their responsibility is in self-defense. Now, as multiple guys are coming here and they're going to push him down and now start beating on him, let's start talking about justification. Like, again, there's all kinds of jaw-jacking here, but that's not the issue. What is the issue is that there is multiple men beating on him. Now, when you're held down like this, multiple guys, you got your girlfriend in the mix, what are you going to do here? Guys, this is a chaotic situation, which is why and when you really need some grappling skills. You need to know how to get up. You need to know how to deal with multiple attackers. This is a bad, bad spot to be in, but you can work out of it if you have some significant skill sets. And now when the third guy comes in here, we got to talk about the fact that now you have three guys who are beating you and you are in a compromised position. Now, I'm not going to talk about the laws of China because I don't know what they are, but certainly in the United States, a person who is being held down and beaten by three guys could start to begin to articulate a disparity of force because of numbers that would justify deadly force. However, whether or not it's justified or not, could he have gotten to the knife at this point? Or if you're a firearms carrier, could you get to the firearm at this point? The chances are that it's not going to happen. You got to have some space and some positional dominance to do that, and he simply does not. So that's something to work on in your defensive training and in your mat training. Now they let him up. So at this point, it's again, it has deceased, it's stopped from a position of a fight, and now it's just an argument again. But our guy in the black shirt, now it's an ego thing. He's gone from protecting to punishing, where he says, nope, this guy's gonna pay for holding me down. He's gonna pay for beating me up. So he's gonna get his knife out and hurt this guy. This is not a justifiable use of deadly force, because again, it's not an immediate threat. It's not right now. Immediate, imminent, depends on how you want to articulate it, but it's not right this minute. It was before. So this is too late to use deadly force. This is an ego and a punishment, and that is not justifiable. Now, from the perspective of actually fighting a person who is armed with a knife, you notice that our bad guy's using that leveraging arm. He's sticking that out to get rid of that guy, and actually using the knife in an ice pick grip. It's very rare that I see the leveraging arm used with the ice pick grip, because it tends to put the bad guy's arm at jeopardy, so I don't see him use it very often. But in your martial arts training, in your mat training, you should work on the leveraging arm and work from that ice pick grip against a resisting opponent, so you know what that's like. Finally, a couple things here is he's going to run off. Again, this guy in the white shirt doesn't know how badly he's hurt right now until the blood pressure goes away. So from his friend's perspective, you have to have your first aid skills. They have to be on point. Keep your first aid kit on you. Now, I don't know what they could have done for this guy in the moment. Pack some wounds, get him to the hospital as fast as you possibly can. But I can't tell you enough. You need to take a trauma medical class so that you have the skill set required as well as the equipment on you to handle life-threatening bleeding. And finally, friends, we need to talk about spiritual fitness out of this one. First of all, spiritual fitness, meaning, of course, that you've said everything to your family that you need to, that you've said all the heartfelt things you need to, and that you and Jesus have a strong relationship. Because when that day comes, you may not know it in advance, and you want to have that solid. Now, I will be willing to bet if you do have those two things solid, that you won't get into the kind of ego battles that started this one to begin with. So spiritual fitness not only helps you on the last day of your life, helps you every day in between to stay out of these kind of ego fights and cover your asp.